H to the is O, V to the is A. H to the is O, V to the is A. H to the is O, V to the is A. Faux shizzle, my nizzle used to down in VA. What's up, everybody? I'm over here now. Welcome to episode 43 of Tremendous Opinions Podcast. It's been a long week since Brunswick, or whatever I called it, Boomstick Madness, last episode. If you watched it, God bless you. That was a super fun episode to do. It was shorter than the last Georgia episode, but still as fun. It seems like it's been a month since I've done a podcast. Hang on. I'm going to stick to my notes, or try to, before I move on. H to the Izzo. Speaking of Izzo, I need Tom Izzo and the Michigan State Spartans to drop off Duke in the second round of this tourney. You hear me? I've always rooted against Tom Izzo. Couldn't stand him. Even when he had Draymond Green. Couldn't stand the guy. Even a lot the past couple years. He's got on my nerves. But for the first time in my life, I want to pull for Tom Izzo to and beat Duke in the second round of that tourney. You could do it, Tom. I'm a believer. March Madness starts tomorrow. I'm filming this Wednesday night. I got a late start because all my equipment was still in the car because I'm lazy. It's been in the car for like 3 days. I'm surprised it still works. March Madness starts tomorrow. UNC, my Tar Heels, they're playing in Texas. I wanted to start off the podcast singing that SpongeBob song that Sandy does. I wish I was home in Texas. But it's too much. Even though I just did it anyways. I snuck it in there. Wish I was in Texas, man. But I'm over here now.
I'm over here now.
Gotta work. I took a lot of time last week, and New York was popping. I'm going to get into New York. It was a great trip and worth every minute. But first, my boys, man. I need Carolina to win at least one game. I got to see them play again, and I can't be there tomorrow. So I'll be jumping up and down. I have a Brady Manic shirt underneath my Salvio's sweater, which I'm going to get into that later as well. Well, I'm going to get into New York. Okay. So, before I get on the plane, the night before, if you watched the last podcast, I promised Corey that I would go work out. So, sure enough, Corey takes me to some place like Bailey's Better Fitness or something. And there's a bunch of do-goods and a bunch of muscle-bound dudes in there getting a freaking good sweat in. And I am not supposed to be there. You want me to be honest? I have some type of hat on. I have a Vineyard Vine t-shirt, Essential shorts, and Yeezy slides.
Boom, like a toothpick.
At the gym. Okay? It's embarrassing. I didn't even know I looked that bad. I thought, whatever. I'm just dressed normal. Corey took videos of me working out. I look like a complete clown. I had no idea. Not only did I look terrible, I felt terrible. My self-esteem was at an all-time low. Dude, I couldn't fight my way through a wet paper sack after we got done. It was maybe a 30-minute workout. Dude, I thought maybe I could do a little something. It's been years, but whatever. I'm not necessarily out of shape. I'm just a little dude, whatever. I'm a skinny dude. No. It is bad. I hurt Alright, so the workout was Wednesday. I hurt the most on probably Saturday for about 4 days. I couldn't even like lift my phone up to my face. I was using my AirPods the whole time in New York. And it didn't help that I had to walk everywhere in New York. Ubers are expensive. There's people on heroin on the subway. I'm not trying to ride the subway all day. Dude, I saw like 15 separate individuals actively on heroin in the subway. No, dude, I'm walking. Walking the slums. I stayed in the slums of Brooklyn for like 5 days. And it was nice. I'm a people watcher. I like seeing stuff out of my norm. I don't know if anyone spoke English in a mile radius of me. It was great. I speak a little Spanish. I went to the deli, the corner deli. The best breakfast sandwich I ever had in my life. They got options. But he didn't know a lick of English, but he could slap together a bacon, egg, and cheese on a roll. I'd never had it on a roll. I pigged out. I didn't go healthy at all. I didn't drink a lick of water. I did get a Powerade, but that was just because the sodas looked old in that store. So I got a Powerade. The food was great. No matter where you go in New York City, it just hits a little different. Okay, getting ahead of myself. So I worked out with Corey, and it killed me. I'm sore. I almost went to sleep in the car ride home. That next morning I had to wake up early, drive like 5 hours. And I'm going to give you the long version because I'm the Captain Kirk of this enterprise. I leave Corey's, drive about 5 hours, and I have all my podcast equipment in the car. I go to my buddy's house near Atlanta, about an hour from the airport, drop all the podcast stuff, go drive an hour to the airport, park the car, and leave it there for 4 days. Get on the plane, and I barely get to New York in time to get to my hotel, walk 3 miles to roughly Barclays. I ended up getting an Uber because I didn't want my feet to bleed. I get to the game, and it's sick tickets, dude. And it's ACC tourney vibes. All the teams are repped. All the fans are there. And we got the sick tickets, dude. We got the Manic hookup. And, dude, it was so fun to see the peeps. I saw some of them before I even got to the seats. I saw them walking around Barclays. I just happened to bump into them. And, dude, I don't want this season to end. It's been so freaking good, so fun. Not even just the basketball, but the hanging out and just the booling. The view. Man. So, alright, I guess I'll try to do this chronologically. I'm there at Barclays, I finally show up, and Brady's on fire. He starts off just buckets, 3 balls, buckets. And he has 19 points in the first half, and the other team, Virginia, only ended up with 13 at half. So Brady single-handedly outgunned and outmanned a Virginia team. And Virginia won the national championship with that head coach a few years back. So, that says a lot. It was so fun, dude. So on that night, I left on a high. That's when I went and got the best breakfast sandwich. I didn't go to sleep till about 3 or 4 in the morning after that Virginia game. The next morning, like I said, my feet are about to bleed already, and it's just like really day 1 because I only spent a half a day and barely made the game. I wake up early, get a coffee, start walking around Brooklyn. And again, I probably walked three or 4 miles. I don't know. And well, really, I'm barely looking at my notes. After the Virginia game, I figured I'll walk through Brooklyn, dude. I'm only here for a few days. I might as well see the sights and just see what I see. And I just start walking down a random street. And I am a fan of Kith, a clothing brand. I have been for a while. I barely bought their stuff because it's pretty expensive. But the creative direction and collaborative design and everything about this brand is cool to me. Not because it's popping, not because it's a wave, but it's because naturally the first time I saw one piece of their clothing, I was like, wow, that is sick. I need to see what that's about. And I naturally looked at it and followed their president or whatever he is. I don't know his title. A guy named Ronnie Feig on Instagram. And I just see when they drop all their stuff. Have been for a while. So I'm walking down a random street, first night in Brooklyn. And I'm looking at my phone, just walking. And I look over and I see a big Kith store. I'm like, wow. I just randomly bump into it. And I get on my phone and look enough. Sure enough, there's only 2 Kith stores in the whole area. And I just naturally walk down the street. So I'm like, sick. I got my plan for tomorrow. So I wake up early, get the coffee, go down there. And I won't give you the ear beating about the first Kith thing. I stayed in line for like an hour. And I didn't even get in. I just left. I went, I met up with the fam. Kellen, Chloe, the whole like manic side. My dog, Craig. The guy who almost got into it with Duke. And Aunt Tanya. Dude, Aunt Tanya, I gotta give her a shout out. She's bought me like a million meals. She bought my Metro card so I didn't have to pay to ride the subway. Just the nicest people in the world. I meet up with them and go to a place that I wouldn't know about half of this New York stuff if it wasn't for Joey Diaz. I used to have his picture right here before I put the big blender up on the wall. Joey's the reason I even started to do this. And who cares, dude? I got like 4 viewers, and the people I'm talking about is half of them. But because of Joey's podcast and his stories of growing up in New Jersey and New York area, I knew what a delicatessen was and how to say it.
Cuisine. We're over here at Cat's Delicatessen in the Lower East Side. Easy. 7 out of 5 marrons. Take care. Brush your hair.
So we show up to this place. It's called Cat's Delicatessen. And I show up. And Joey's all the time talking about different soups and stuff. So I get chicken noodle soup. And I liked it. Some other people didn't. It's whatever. But the place, dude, there's a picture of Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton's been in there. It's just baller. Every place that you walk into in New York to eat is just cool, man. It's been there since the 1800s. And you could tell. They had, like the wrestler Goldberg was in there and had a brisket sandwich. Buzz Aldridge or whatever his name is, the astronaut, went in there and had a salami on rye. Dude, Bill Clinton had like 4 different picks in there. He's cheesing and he's all red-faced. Like he walked 5 miles to get there too. He smoked a cigarette when he got there. Oh, Cat's Delicatessen was sweet. And we got on the subway. My first subway ride was that day. And it was just so surreal. I knew that the subway was underground, but once you go down there, you're like, wow, it's a whole other city down here. It's like Gotham City. Like Bane lives down here, and he got a bunch of little minions going around operating and doing stuff down here. Coal mining or something. I don't know what people are doing down there. But it's just so big. Being born in hicky country town in North Carolina, raised in a small town in Oklahoma, going to New York and really diving in, walking through the slums and going down into the subways, and I even rode like the subway by myself back and at night and different times while I was there, and just to really take yourself into that world. And I don't know if I'm as observant or more observant as other people, but that's what I like to do. I like to sit there and like just not take notes or something, but just in my brain, I like to see what's going on out here. And it's nothing like I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if I'm going to go back. It was probably the dirtiest place I've ever seen, but one of the most thought-provoking places. Like, how could humans construct a breathing organism that's this big? Like, looking at it from like Queensbridge, I think it was, going into the city, you're just consumed by the city. It's so big. The biggest building that I saw, there was a dude up at like the very top of it cleaning the windows. I was like, dude, I wouldn't even want to have an office up there, much less be that guy and a wind draft come through or a lightning strike the top of the thing, and there goes the scaffolding, and well, there goes Bob. It's just, I can't conceive it. How do you build something that big, and the math involved, and if it falls, whose fault is it? Who gets sued? It's just a miracle that place exists. Okay, I went to Times Square with the fam, and everyone's smoking weed in Times Square. I know weed's legal just across the bridge in New Jersey, but in New York, dude, you can't walk 5 feet without getting a pungent sniff. And I felt like my eyes start to change. I was high walking around in Times Square, right there where Good Morning America's filmed. It's crazy. There's a place we've been talking about for months, Carlo's Bake Shop. I went into Carlo's with the squad, got some cookies and coffee, and it's nice. I brought the cookies back for Livy, and they had good coffee. And it's been there since like the 1800s or something. I forget. Central Park is right there. And that's off of Home Alone 2. And, you know, the flowers hadn't bloomed and the grass wasn't green. The trees were bare. But you could see that it's a beautiful place in like the spring and summertime. Especially like it's a breath of fresh air for the people who live there, and really it's probably the only breath of air, because trees are the only reason that we are able to breathe. If I remember through third grade science correctly, I believe that's how oxygen is created, is trees, and those are the only trees. In the plane I was looking down, Central Park has to be like the life source of that city. I'm sure everyone would die of lack of oxygen if Central Park caught on fire. That's just nuts. But yeah, Central Park was beautiful. There's freaking fat squirrels and fat pigeons everywhere. I've never seen a squirrel that big. It looked like a fox. Dude, yeah. The people smoking weed in Central Park were nuts. I just saw people like laid out. I think they brought a couch. They just showed up with a couch and laid down on and smoking. I think they were hitting a bong on a couch in the park. Dude, yeah, that's nuts. So, after that, everyone was tired. We were walking around. I wanted to go back to the Kith store because I didn't get to get in there earlier. So, my boy Kellen and Chloe want to go. So we all, go our separate ways on the subway. We finally make our way into the Kith store, and I'll put some separate videos up. This is what I got myself at Kith. There was a shirt that I'm not going to show you. That was something I wore back on the plane. It's dirty now, but these Converse Kith shoes are a sick collab, and I'm pretty sure she said this is the last one in this size, so I am happy about getting those. And I got this New York City shirt to match. It's something to remember the trip by. And like I said, oh yeah, before I forget, the cups. Got two of these cups that came with this cool little whatever suede purse pouch thing, and just the whole shopping experience at Kith was something like I had never seen or experienced in my life. In store, I mean, I'm sure shopping online is just like regular, like any purchase, but in store, they're like a Chick-fil-A type. Like, they go way above and beyond. Their attention to detail, not just in the clothes, but in how they present the stuff in the store, to how the employees act, to even this stuff. Like, I didn't buy this bag. They just put the cups in the bag and gave it to me that way. Their receipts come in a little cool thing. Just every aspect and every angle to the customer service side of things is thought about and made custom to what they think is cool and what they think looks good. And they keep changing it up, dude. I can't speak better about this brand. I know it's expensive, but dude, give them a follow on Instagram, and they really earned my lifelong support. I think their stuff is very cool, and they treated me awesome. I went there 3 times in 2 days, and they knew my name when I walked in the last time. I don't know how many. I was probably in there for like 3 hours altogether. But I bought everyone's whatever, like their thing from New York. I didn't get like a teddy bear at the airport or something like that. This is what I think is cool, so this is what I gave people. And yeah, I had to give them a proper shout out because they treated me great. So come Saturday, it snows. Starts snowing, sleeting, and dude, I didn't think anything of it. I get out and walk around in the snow, and it's cold. I didn't really plan for it, so I'm freezing. I get an Uber back to the hotel, didn't think of it. I fly out the next morning. My flight got canceled. So, and I didn't know till I got to the airport, and that's a $50 Uber ride. So I could have just had a heart attack and just laid there, but I didn't. I ended up getting a hotel right down the street, staying an extra day, catching a flight out in the morning, and it was pretty cool to experience that because that's a part of New York. It was so windy, dude. Walking around a corner, you just want to die. I understand why everyone up there just like is mean and don't say nothing to nobody, and they're talking under their teeth like this, and they're just cussing people out. I get it, dude. Turning those corners into the wind, you're just cussing under your teeth, and you turn your head like this. It was brutal, dude. But because I stayed, I had the best BLT I'm ever going to have in my life from Sunset Park Deli in Brooklyn, New York. Tremendous BLT. You couldn't imagine. I had like 3 different BLTs when I was up there. I'm a nerd. Oh, this podcast sucks. When I was up there, I kept thinking about Joey Diaz. And it kept making me smile. And I don't know, that'd be a cool place to grow up. Like every now and again, you'd see a pile of kids running like with sticks, chasing each other, fighting in the street, and everyone's so. I feel like if you're from there and you grow up in that place, everyone's so tightly knit, and especially like in the slums, you depend on each other. So it would be a real special something growing up in that Brooklyn, Bronx, or not. I didn't go to Bronx. Brooklyn's so big. I guess I was just in like West End Brooklyn, and then wherever Barclays is so big, dude. I was everywhere in the subways. I get mixed up. I need my phone to get to places where I live, much less I don't know where I'm going in New York City. As beautiful of a place as it would be to grow up, there's so many crazy people. Dude, I ended up just stopping getting on the subway that last day. I didn't get on the subway at all. It's a risk. You're taking your life in your own hands getting on that subway. But one thing I have written down here is the beauty of the city. Especially in those Uber rides. Like, you drive by something, even like a graveyard. There was a huge graveyard, and normally that's abysmal and, dim, driving by a graveyard, but they had some huge monuments, like angel monuments, and I don't even know what it was. It's like rolling hills. It's a pretty hilly area, up and down. But it is a beautiful landscape, and it's a beautiful city. And there's spray paint everywhere, and there's art in some places. I mean, I saw Biggie Smalls, I saw Kobe Bryant mural, and so many other things I didn't take a picture of just because I was trying to be in the moment and, just take in the city. But I eventually do want to go back, and I'll do it right. And I'll know where I'm going this time. How to survive down there is pretty different than anything I've ever experienced. And that was pretty much my vacation for the year, but I'm glad I went. There's nothing more I want. That was so cool. I am glad to be home, though, with my Sheets coffee, and where you can order a nice slice of Salvio's Brady Alfredi during March Madness. Go up there with your Brady Manic merch and get you a free slice of that hitter. So, the day I came back, I flew from New York to Atlanta, got my car out of the parking garage, drove an hour to my buddy's house to get my podcast equipment, and then drove 6 hours all the way back to North Carolina. Did I go home because I was tired? No. Do you know where I went? I went to Salvio's Pizzeria in Cary, North Carolina. Straight 6 hours from Atlanta, right after a flight and an extra hour podcast equipment trip. That's commitment, baby. I had to go get me a sweater. It's March Madness, and I'm turning up. Double time on this voodoo from my boy Brady, son. They're going to smack Marquette tomorrow, and it's because tomorrow around 3 p.m. my time, I'm going to go to Salvio's Pizza in Cary, North Carolina, and get me a large size Brady Alfredi special with a couple of those chocolate hot dogs and a couple of those cannolis or something like this. And I'm going to come to the house, and we're going to do the Kilby voodoo. We have a big tradition, and I'll get into that next podcast when I'm jumping up and down about the next matchup. I presume Baylor. I think we're going up against 1 seed Baylor, and I'm all for it, baby. Bring them on. Who cares? Because we got that big blender. And I'm sorry if I was monotone and the H to the Izzo song sucks, but I liked it. It's New York, plus I need Tom Izzo, So, thank you for listening to my nonsensible ramblings. I think that's it. I'm over here now.
I'm over here now.
I'm back home. And Dewey said that he wanted to be on this week because it's spring break, but they're already in Texas, deep in the heart of Texas. So we're figuring it out, bro. I don't know. And I don't even know how I'm going to record that. We're trying to get a guitar amp in here and freaking jam like John Mayer at the Forum. I don't know what we're doing in here, but we'll figure it out. Thank you. I'm an ear beating. I'll see you next time. H to the is O, V to the is A. H to the is O, V to the is A.